Is everyone ready for the movie of the week? Because we're talking about the movie of the week. Bang!
Mark and Angry, welcome back again for another week as we knock out another movie of the week. Which is this week's film.
Yeah, very 70s vibe. Came out in 81, but you see the hangover of the 70s. There's a very 70s vibe in this movie.
Yeah. Did you guys enjoy it?
I did.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was too long for me.
That's what she said. That's what she said. That's what she said.
I was right with it for the first hour and a half. I'll get Angry to do the storyline, but the basic part is when the whole world starts crumbling down and they need to go and look for the Holy Grail.
Yeah.
It was almost around that point of the movie I started going, oh, come on,
Yeah, I kind of agree.
Yeah. Simple plot. It's the Arthurian legend, as you can probably tell by the name Excalibur. But it starts with Arthur's dad, Uther Pendragon. Basically, Merlin's trying to get England united under one king. And he thinks Uther is his guy. But Uther screws up morally, but does father a son that Merlin takes away. And that son is Arthur, who becomes the king who ultimately unites England.
Yay!
But it all gets complicated by Arthur's half-sister Morgana, who goes for dark magic in opposition to Merlin, and she gets a son from Arthur, her brother. Creepy.
Absolutely disgusting!
He's raised to try and overthrow Arthur. England collapses into darkness for a while, but good triumphs over evil, except everyone dies.
Everybody got that?
Spoiler alert, everyone's dead by the end of the movie.
Everybody is dead. Everybody is dead, Dave.
All the knights die while looking for the Holy Grail, and there's also a side plot with Guinevere and Lancelot hooking up and making Arthur extremely jealous.
Well, rightly so. Arthur's married to Guinevere, and Lancelot's desperately in love with Guinevere and has been denying himself for years, but they eventually get it on, and that's what makes Arthur abandon Excalibur, which causes England to collapse into darkness.
I got to say, I had an issue with Merlin. I liked his performance, but the whole silver skull cap thing, and I thought he should have been a wiser, sort of older man. We're used to this idea of Gandalf being this wise wizard, and I just wasn't believing his performance. He should have been an older man to really carry across that wise sensibility, and I kind of felt like he was being modelled off of Obi-Wan Kenobi from Star Wars, like Alec Guinness's character, because this was made a few years later. But then I looked it up, and there were similarities between the lightsaber and Excalibur, and also Obi-Wan and Merlin. But George Lucas actually borrowed heavily from the Arthur and Merlin tale. But then when John Boorman directed it, he borrowed, I guess, George Lucas's ideas, especially with the telepathic ending between Arthur and Merlin, where he was like, "Where are you, Merlin?" I was like, this is like Obi-Wan Kenobi and Luke.
Arthur, where have you been these many years? Is it true that Morgana's stories? You brought me back. Your love brought me back. Back to where you are now. In the land of dreams.
So it's really, he was borrowing from the same tale that was, it was kind of a weird thing. But I didn't really believe Merlin that much. But apart from that, I thought the film was very entertaining. The armor was, I liked the clunkiness of the armor, but it was really shiny at the same time. And at one point, I think I could see the crew in one of the close-ups, on the armor in the reflection. So there's a lot of these jarring things that were going on, but overall I thought it was very entertaining. And I liked how serious the film took itself, you know?
The armor was very impressive. The guy that did it was hired to do 14 pieces of armor, and by the end had to make 200 sets of armor. There were multiple armors set for one person as well, because there was a dirty and a clean one as well, or damaged one, you know. Yeah, so some of the filmography, though, was absolutely incredible. Some of the cinematography, I mean. There was the wedding scene that had the armor was all lit up and shiny, and it looked like, again, this reminds me of Star Wars now you said it, but yeah, the scene at the end of Star Wars when everyone's all cleaned up and C-3PO is all shiny and stuff. But the light coming through, and it's not artificial light, it's sun, so they had to sit around and wait for the perfect light to come through into that. Very impressive. Another really beautiful shot was the cherry blossoms when they were playing the Excalibur song. And they're riding through these cherry blossoms, and the flowers are falling off as they're riding through, which I'm sure were people just going up from above.
Yeah, it's people
flowers down. But my God, it looked gorgeous, you know.
Yeah, and I got to say on that as well with the lighting, especially the very end shot where the boat is in the distance and you just see the light shining on the boat. Yeah, I was like, wow, like it's not CGI, this is all real. And I was just like, wow, that's an epic closing shot right there, you know. One of the other issues I had was that sometimes the dialogue was either delivered poorly or it was just bad dialogue or corny or cheesy dialogue in some spots. And that was jarring as well. I was like, okay, yeah, it's a bit on the nose, or, you know.
Yeah, especially King Arthur, the actor who played King Arthur, was stiff as a board.
He's a shite actor, that guy.
Why would you pick this guy? But speaking of the cast, I actually have some notes. Charlie Boorman was in it, who is his son. We know him from a TV show called Long Way Up, Long Way Down, Long Way Round. It's a motorbike show that he does with Ewan McGregor. And it was on SBS for a few years.
I think my father, over the years, he's got 4 children. Myself, my twin sister Daisy, and Katrina and Talsha, and we all worked in all of his movies. And I think most of the time he would say, "Don't employ any children. I have 4 that will work for free," and so that started in Deliverance. So my first appearance in a movie was when I was 4 or 5 years old, and when John Voight comes back at the very end of the film, back to his wife, there's a little boy sitting on the sofa, and that's me, and I'm not the banjo player, just so you know, and so that was kind of cool, that part of it. And then with my sister Katrina, she was a budding actress. She played Igraine in Excalibur. And Talsha was Lady of the Lake. Her hand was Lady of the Lake. Daisy, my twin sister, was never interested in being in front of the camera. She didn't like any of that part of it, and still doesn't like that part of it. Whereas Katrina and myself, just love this side of the camera.
Nicole Williamson. Now, I thought he was great. I really thought he was kind of eating up scenery. His energy. And the kookiness of the Merlin. I really like Merlins when they have a bit of kookiness. Sam Neill did the same thing when he did his Merlin. Yeah,
so I liked his performance. It was just, I thought he should have been an older man, doing it in the role. But the performance I thought was good,
That would be even more like Star Wars when you put it that way, if you're going for a Ben Kenobi look, But he was in Spawn.
You overgrown gecko. Come and get your throat cut.
And the last one was Nicholas Clay, who was Lancelot. Yeah, I don't know. I was hoping for a more experienced, like a well-known actor, or at least for that actor to go on and do good things for a role that meaty. Yeah, we were having a joke about it yesterday. I think it was Angry that like what was he doing the whole time in the forest?
Well, he was sexually repressed. He couldn't go into Camelot because Guinevere was there and he was too horny. So I'm pretty sure he was just beating off in the forest non-stop. He was just...
It was beating off like it was a corn concert.
It's wild. Oh, the Merlin thing as well, Mark. I get what you're saying. I'm sure that was a very deliberate thing. They go, Merlin's always old and wise. We're going to make him younger. We're going to make him middle-aged. He's going to be quirky. Like the Silver Skull Cap was very un-Merlin. They've deliberately gone, we're going to have a very different Merlin. I think you can make a good argument that it maybe didn't work as well as it could have. But I feel like it was a very deliberate choice to make this unlike any other Merlin. And God, speaking of vibe, straight out of the gate, I was getting Monty Python and the Holy Grail vibe. Just the font at the start, the Dark Ages, everything's off. And I was just like, this feels like a Monty Python. And when the first thing when the horses come through, it's like, I just expect there to be a guy banging two coconuts together following behind him.
And that's the thing.
And they even did a Camelot line, like Lancelot's there with Percival.
What's that? What's that? Camelot, the king's castle.
And I wanted someone to pop up and go,
It's only a model. Shh.
but ooh, that's a nice gatefold.
Yeah.
Oh, and it's got the famous impaling each other shot.
At the end, yeah.
Yeah, that was a huge bit in the marketing. That shot, yeah.
I really just like that look of the 80s,
Yeah.
epics, fantasy epics. It's really got that tone to it.
Charlie, what you were saying about how particularly the Holy Grail bit didn't seem necessary and it was just dragging. But I thought it was kind of funny right at the end. Like, it's all over. Arthur, yeah, okay, spoiler alert, this is the end of the movie. Arthur's dying and he gives the Excalibur to the last surviving knight, who's Percival, and says, you have to throw it in a lake, a still body of water. And so Percival rides off with the sword, gets to a lake and goes,
My king, I couldn't do it.
I don't want to do it, and rides back and gets to Arthur, and Arthur goes, did you do it? He goes, no, I couldn't. And Arthur's going, no, really, I really want you to do it. And Percival goes, okay, and rides off again. And did we really have to have that? It was just riding back and forth. Yeah. And that was the other Monty Python moment. The lady in the lake's hand coming up with a thing like, Arthur, why are you king? The lady of the lake, her hand clad in the purest shimmering samite, held aloft Excalibur. And whenever her hand came up, I was going, strange women lying about in ponds is no basis for a system of government.
Yeah. It's like, all right, well, that's completely normal. That woman in the lake there.
I'm a Monty Python tragic.
Yeah, so although I'm aware that they couldn't tell the story without doing the whole Holy Grail thing, it did feel like it dragged on a bit, which knocked it down from 4 stars to 3 for me. So still passable. Would I watch it again? For sure.
Yeah, I'm going to go 3.5 for this one because I really liked the look of the film. There were some very jarring moments, but like I said, I liked how serious it took itself, and I had a good time watching it.
I'd go 3 as well because for me it was very episodic. It to me it wasn't a very good story arc structure in there where you could see where it was going. It's like it's a thing that happens, then another thing happens, then another thing happens, then another thing happens. I think that made it less enjoyable, that it wasn't a very clear narrative arc going through it. But yeah, I'll give it 3 out of 5. It was entertaining.
Yeah.
It does. Well, that brings us to next week's Film of the Week. If you're following along, another one that I've also got in 4K. This is supposedly a really cool film. Oh, Frankenheimer! Woohoo!
It's a John Frankenheimer film.
Yeah, I'm a bit of a John Frankenheimer film fan. Yeah. The Train,
nice.
Burt Lancaster. I'm a bit of a sucker for Burt Lancaster films as well. Mark here put me onto a film called The Swimmer, which was really cool. Really enjoyed that one. He's also in The Birdman from Alcatraz and stuff like that. Just really classically trained actor, but with some really good skills. So that should be fun.
Yeah,
Looking
I'm
forward to it,
completely
yeah.
unfamiliar with that movie, but I'm looking forward to watching it.
Yeah, definitely.
Sweet.
Cool.
Well, let's cut to the theme song and get the hell out of here. See you guys.
Bye, everyone. Movie of the week, movie of the week. We just talked about the movie of the week. Yeah.
The you know.